In today's live stream, I'll be exclusively taking your slots related questions. Of course, the people who are here live now know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you watching this recording. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around and I'm sure you'll find it of value even if you are watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. And I also want to say thank you to the future podcast listeners of this of this live stream who get the audio. Welcome and enjoy. So if you have a question, please use hashtag question, that so I can spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in about how their slots play has been going lately and see if what the weather's like and all the other events that we have going on in our lives, right? So let's just jump right into some of the questions that I've been getting. I've been getting so many of them, and I wanted to make sure I kind of like there's no bad question, and I want to make sure that this is not just answering them, but sharing with everybody, so that some people have come up with some pretty good questions. So here you go. First question is from Ron. I got this question today on my Professor Slots Facebook group, and has asked, "What about cruise ship slots? Are these slots rigged so they don't pay as much? And what is your strategy for playing them? I love your show, by the way. My bankroll will be $1,000." Ron didn't say when his cruise was going to be, but we're getting. I'm hearing from people who are just getting back and just about ready to go. So August, September seems to be a great time to do all that. If you've been on a cruise, why don't you comment in the live chat or in the comment to this video? Where did you go? Did you go to the Caribbean? Was it the Eastern or the Western? Did you do California? Whereabouts did you take your cruise if you took one? And that would be great to share with everybody. So what about cruise ship slots? Well, there's a couple of things here. Ron, when he first asked, he says, "What about cruise ship slots?" And I said, "Could you be more specific? There's a lot of questions you might be asking me." And by the way, each one of these questions that I get from YouTube comments and Facebook groups and emails and Twitter, they could all be an article. They could all be a 3-minute video, 2-minute video. So I can't make that many videos, not with a high enough quality to really kind of like do all the editing and the sound work and the B-rolls and everything. So but some of these are well worth answering. So first off, there's no getting around the fact that cruise ship slots are terrible. I hate to tell you, you have to recalibrate what success is on a cruise ship. Uh, when you first get on board, and maybe if it's like a 7-day cruise and it's the first 3 days, 2.5, 3 days, when does it really start? If you go to a 7-day cruise and it starts on Sunday, you don't board till noon, and you're not really in your room until a couple hours after that, and maybe you get a massage because they have all these deals, and so maybe around dinner time on the first day might be when you first go. So when I say the first day, I mean that kind of like half day, that quarter day. And so when you go, excuse me, when you go on a cruise, let's say that first day, that partial day is a 1 day, and then there's a second day and there's a third day. And somewhere on the third day, you lose after that. And the before that, it's not great. Honestly, anything you do on a land-based casino is going to be better. But that's the strategy, is early in the trip. And part of the reason why casinos, cruise ship slots do this is so that they can be sure to get all their money back, because you're not just gonna, I mean, you might, but other people are not gonna just sit on the money they won for 4 days on a 7-day cruise because they won it on the third day. Wow, that's hard. So you might break even in the first part of the trip. And that's what successful cruise ship slots experiences are. And okay, so you might win more than you spend, but keeping your winnings for the next 45 days afterwards takes a serious effort. They'll encourage you to give it all back and then some. It's not the winning that's hard, it's keeping it keeping it. I hope this helps. Otherwise, as far as the legality, there are no laws. Sorry. There's no slots rigging, technically speaking, when you're in international waters because there's no gaming regulations there. All cruise ships, try to do is make sure you don't complain too much. It's like the theoretical payout minimums that a bunch of states have in the United States, which never even approach that number by the casinos because it would just be pitchforks and torches and let's get upset and etc. It would be getting the crowds really upset. For instance, Nevada has a 75% return theoretical payout setting. That's the minimum. It doesn't have to be that amount, but it can't be any lower per play, per bet on slots. And the average for the state is usually about 92.7, 93%. So they don't even approach it. And understand that about a 2.5% improvement in the odds from what it was to suddenly you're winning and you're seeing everybody else around you winning, that's about 2.5% difference. And it's as I like to say, it's worthy of a backflip. That's how it goes from the worst thing you've ever seen to the best thing you've ever seen. It's like going from Indiana with its 90% average to Nevada with its 93% average. It's just one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. And 75%, like I was trying to tell you, 75% would be terrible. So cruise ship slots, like a lot of casinos, particularly in the states that don't have a theoretical payout lower limit. Some have a higher limit, upper limit, but I talk about those at another time. So cruise ship slots aren't using the lower limit, aren't avoiding it, but they could. And so the trick is not to get you upset when you're going to be on the cruise and maybe they're going to have a day at sea and everybody gets a little grumpy. I've been on a couple of cruises. It's always great. It's always interesting. But there's always a little something on those days when the crew, all of them become actors and all of them keep everybody entertained when there's like that one day where you're just cruising. And it's a little bit more than that if you go from California to Hawaii. Anyway, so the point is not to get you to complain too much. And if you do complain, well, it's implied that to blame you because, losing is your fault. And a lot of people accept that. There's no need for them to mention the odds are against you from the beginning and that the odds get worse later in the trip. So my best advice for cruise ship slots is if you win anything, you're awesome. You're a rock star. Treat it like the rare thing it is. And so that was that question. Hey, Magpie, great to see you here. We have a question from Carrie as well. Are stats at Harrah's Anderson better than firekeepers in Michigan? There are no. So when you say Harrah's Anderson, where is that? I guess I could Google it. Doesn't ring the bell offhand. Mississippi or something? Anderson. Anderson, Indiana. Harrah's Hoosier Park. Harrah's Hoosier Park is, let's see, we can do that. So let me share my reviews, accept all, share this. Okay. So if you go to my website under reviews, can you see that? ProfessorSlots.com. Put that away and sign up, by the way. Go to reviews, and I did I'm going alphabetically through all the states. And there's only 20 of them that offer return statistics. Michigan isn't one of them, but don't mean to like spoil alert. So we can go to Indiana. So I did this in June, and I try to do like one a week, and then I'll update them forever once I cycle through all of them. It takes a little while to do the first one because I got to sort things out. Right. Okay. So this is Harrah's is the brown one. Okay. So let me quickly pull up my Excel spreadsheet and show that because I can zoom in a lot better on that one. But you can go to under reviews, Indiana slots return to player, and that'll be updated eventually when you see this sort of thing. So right now it's as recent as what was available in June. So yes, that would be my stats analysis folder. And yeah, so okay. And I think you can see this. Yes, yes. So you were asking about, well, the best is French Lick, the worst is Horseshoe, Indiana, and has been consistently for since the beginning of 2019, so 2.5 years. And I have a post for, where are you at? Come on, you can do it. A couple, I think it was like a week ago or so, my computer failed on me because I was asking it to do too much. First, the fan turned on, and that was my warning shot. And then French Lick, three more, 1, 2, 3. And Harrah's. Ooh, ouch. Harrah's Hoosier Park is this brown line. Okay. So that's kind of looks to be rather the second lowest. It's kind of above this line here is Horseshoe, Indianapolis, and that's the worst in Indiana. Indiana is the worst state out of all the states that provide this, at least so far that I've checked, with Nevada being the first, and Harrah's Hoosier Park is second to the last in the worst state in the U.S. That offers return statistics that I've checked so far. Not, so Firekeepers has to beat that, and Firekeepers has a good reputation. They're I've been there. I have an article, what is it, Friday Night Observations at a Casino. And yes, they had no wins. When I was there, I saw no hand pays, but I did hear of one, and I was there for an hour and a half on a Friday, from 5 o'clock until 6:30. And I saw no hand pays, but then, a couple hours later, there were hundreds. And that's a regular thing at Firekeepers. So listen for other people winning, because that's what they do. That's how they, encourage and manipulate and set things up. And it's all it's all legal. Remember the most important thing to it's important to stay legal, but when there's few legal requirements, and I'll put that away for you. When there's few legal requirements, the most important thing is to maintain the reputation of a casino, and for people not to get too mad at them, because they will eventually, and people leave and say, I'm not going to come back, and then they have to be wooed back. They have to get mail flyers that are excessive and free play and all this other stuff. And I don't know why casinos do it. They, whatever they got for that, they I'm pretty sure they lost out ultimately for the year, or having an employee, having a player, spend money and just come back because they're happy or not mad is well known to be the way you make money as a business. Satisfied customers, or at least not very, customers you haven't made very upset. And so the way that the people were happy at Firekeepers, I think that is uh, better odds. But that's an objective feeling. And of course, people who go during the hour and a half when I was there, nobody got a hand pay and casino was half full. Well, can't imagine they're too happy. But then later in that evening, it was just, hundreds of those hand pays. So, and then, you're asking about the comparison to the second to last, roughly, not always, some kind of tie for it occasionally for 2000 from the beginning of 2021. Ouch. So that's what I think. And I also want to thank for Linda. Let me make sure I don't have my volume like terrible. Thank you to Linda for the super sticker. And I always forget what Gigi means. It's a little animated hippopotamus. And I always forget the gamer term Gigi. Paula, help me out here. Right. So questions. Thank you, Linda. I do appreciate you. I appreciate you. Putting it into the travel fund. Yep. Carrie says, Old Hoosier Park. Yep. Let's see here. So Bex, I shorten names here. Bex, hashtag question, but my moderator probably mentioned it to you. When says, when my local puts in a new group of machines, is it better to play right away or wait for a couple of weeks or months after? Partly it depends on your state. The casinos would love to make them winning machines to invest in that excitement that people have, particularly if it's like a game theme that people have been waiting for and excited to see, and it's all a big presentation. But the state gaming regulations can just chop that off, can make it illegal to do that. And those are the states that have a theoretical payout limit maximum, but not just, well, yeah, that would do it. If you there's a subtlety here, which is in the gaming regulations. If they have a theoretical maximum, like Iowa, Pennsylvania, a bunch of others, and like Virginia just came out with theirs, and they have a maximum. It's basically 100%, might be 99.9% or 100%, but the casinos are not allowed to make it a winning machine. Now, the rules might say it's over the lifetime of the machine, but in Virginia, it's a brand new gaming industry, and so they haven't been around for a while. And interestingly enough, Virginia, I was reading it. Thanks, Fun, for pointing out some of the links for that. He's near that area and went to Hard Rock Bristol. Not the full casino. It's kind of like they built a component building for it while they build the main resort. In any case, in that gaming regulation, it says over the lifetime of the game theme. So if they switch out the game theme on a physical machine or make any update to that game, then that becomes a new lifetime in which the odds have to be bad. So Bex, if you want to mention which state you're in, or you can just check to see what the gaming regulations are to see if they're even allowed to do that. They want to do it, but they might be prevented from doing it. And they all want to do it. So I would say, yeah, that would be the games to play, but not if you're in Pennsylvania, Iowa, Virginia, all those different states that have a theoretical maximum of 100%, because they're disallowed. Now, you can check. You can go to professorslots.com/ and then use the 2-letter postal designation and put that in, and you'll come to my slots article for your state. assuming that you're in the United States, territories, federal districts, all that. So professorslots.com/PA for Pennsylvania, professorslots.com/IA for Pennsylvania. All that's free. It's what I call my online resource. I spent years building it, and I should probably mention it more often. And it's in the second to last section called theoretical payout limits, theoretical payouts and return statistics, and you can see what's available there. Okay, next question. Cheryl, didn't win anything last Friday, changing my day up at Potawatomi. We'll try Thursdays, right? You know, a lot of people uh, aren't able to be flexible at what time they go, but if you are, check. It might be well worth your time. You also might learn that it's like worse. So, but it's fascinating to see these differences and realize that it's the casino that's doing this. It's not that the universe says Thursdays are better. It's the casino says Thursdays are better. And just like here, Harrah's Hoosier Park has chosen for, a year and a half to be the second lowest in the state. And one of the things I want to do is go back. Well, one of the things I want to do is go back further and see how many years that's been going on in yeah, it does take a little while to do some of these because there's a lot of cutting and pasting that's required. So I only went back to beginning of 2019, and they were doing a little better. Oh yeah, they were kind of middle of the pack before the pandemic, but then they came out second to last. Anyway, it's a little hard to see that on that graph, but if you want to take a look at my article, like I showed you, you can see all that and keep track. It's good data. Might even start, using a spreadsheet yourself on these things if you can. Okay, so comments. Um, so question from Magpie. Hi, Magpie. I am finding that when I go to familiar casino, I only play the machines I like or win on or won on. If I wanted to freshen up my view of the familiar casino, what new or different action would you do? Um, that's a serious thing. I have I won 90 taxable jackpot, excuse me, 90 hand pays in 9 months, largest being $27,000, the smallest being 1,200 because that's the limit on the hand pay in Ohio. And I did that in 9 months, and then I won a car. And nowadays I don't play high limits. That's what I do personally. But I want to get to know you guys better, and most of you are low limit players. So I take $300 and go to a new to me casino, and I see with fresh eyes what's happening, and it's amazing. I think that's what been your experience lately when we talked about this at other places, other um, uh, meetings that we have, and Magpie 11 is in my slots IQ community, and it's always interesting the things that she tries. But got a lot of respect for some of the observations that she's making and excellent questions. So, yeah, if I went back to those two casinos that I won 90 hand pays on in 9 months, and I was just thrown for a loop. It was such an exciting time. I had to not park in the top tier parking structure area because I let that lapse to new owners, and so I'm not top tier in the players club at both those places like I used to be. And so I'm not, you know, go park in the main area, go in, and I was just reeling from the memories. Okay, 90 hand pays in 9 months is a lot of memories, and winning a car is a lot of memories. So I'm like, going through the area, kind of like it's a mist, and I see all these old memories, and so it may not be quite so severe for you, but I completely understand when you've gone to a casino and you like to do certain things, and then you do something different. I really have to put my foot down. I really have to. The first time I did this, I went back to Horseshoe Cincinnati, which had become a Jack's Cincinnati, and then now is a Hard Rock Cincinnati, and it took me that first trip. It was just gone. I took my $300, went to the high limit room, made a couple of bets, and then I realized I had half my bankroll left, and I'm like, get out of the past. And so, uh, what you can do is recognize it. I had a hard time because I didn't realize that could happen. But when you realize it can happen, you can back away. Now, what I like to do is make sure I go to new to me casinos, because that's a skill. And I just kind of like, when I go to not new to me, my regular local casinos, I have to kind of like just pretend this is a new place, pretend this is a just like you did last weekend, just like you did 2 weeks ago. Pretend, in your mind that, oh, that's where I won the car. No, 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 don't look at that. And just, fake it till you make it, right? And just kind of look around with new eyes. It is. Thank you for pointing out that it is not easy. Yeah. Um, And as it says in your question, I am finding out that that when I go to the casino, familiar casino, I only play the machines I like and won on. Yeah. On the other hand, those machines that you like and won on, if you found them using my techniques, then that's good information that you can use to help yourself. But on the other hand, if it's before you met me, and we met some time ago, but uh, you were introduced to me, you found me a while ago. If it's from before all that, then you have to sort of like evaluate with your new eyes with what you've learned. Yeah. So slots I just call them fun. Um, uh, 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 Thank you, moderators. Question: what are the odds a new casino is built to not use any of the 10 methods? Trying to learn my casino better. Thanks. Uh, it's not really odds. I had a paid consultation. I offer those, by the way, and we went over to he's in the corner of the state, upper the northwest corner of Iowa, which is not too far from the southeast corner of Iowa, of South Dakota. And Iowa is the most mature U.S. gaming industry in the United States. They got them. They got it first. They got Riverboat casinos first, and they hit it hard. And there's one casino within an hour's drive of every resident, and it's just a saturated market, fully penetrated. All these marketing terms that people use, and so they are a mature market. And other places are just becoming that, maybe sort of getting there. Iowa did it and has done it, and it's been that way for maybe 10, 15 years. And so they're mature. And you can't win. And the reason you can't win, unless it's lightning striking, you have to like go in, win, get out, that sort of approach. If you continue to play, then the average is below 100%, because the state requires it not be over 100% per game, per wager. And casinos, it's driving them crazy. I was talked about it for an hour with my paid consultation client about, see, these are the rules, and you're seeing this, but how can I, you can't. So it's not really odds so much. You can look for this, and I provide my online resource at professorslots.com/online resource, or you can just go directly to your. Stop. Isaac has joined the conversation. My neighbor is mowing his lawn. Stop. Okay. Wow, you're loud today. Hopefully he'll calm down. Or do you have a question about slots? um, he certainly can reach up and press buttons, but I don't think he can pull the lever. Okay, come on. Um, yes. Come on. Yesterday, yesterday we had a squirrel out on the front porch, and he was just like, "What is that?" So okay, calm down, Isaac. Uh, so I was shocked to see a casino that didn't have anything I could check when I was visiting. This isn't all 10 methods. I mean, one of my methods is online slots, bank to bonus. And, you know, s- so some of them you have to come back a week later. And I didn't come back a week later, so I didn't know if they did that. But the ones that where you can walk into a casino and you can walk around and see if there's, locations work or that the odds are better when uh, uh, you can hear everybody winning, all of that. They weren't doing it at Delta Downs in Louisiana, and I looked around, and Jan, who might not be here tonight, one of my moderators, can confirm this. I was there with her. We went to three different casinos: Golden Nugget, uh, Kashada, and Delta Downs, and there was a tree blocking the view into the high limit room, indoor tree, and I'm just like, I could get a job here and have them move that and they'll thank me. It was just like, who are these people that aren't doing this? Yes, it's fair, but who wants fair? I want them to manipulate you so you can manipulate them right back. And it works wonderfully when that happens. So some of these, the complaints I'm making about Pennsylvania, Iowa, Virginia having these 100% theoretical payout maximum limits per wager, um, is just like, how dare you be fair? How dare you prevent casinos from trying to take advantage of us because they're really obvious about it and we can take advantage of them in return. So my strategies aren't, strategies or counter strategies to the casino setup. So yeah, it has happened. I have seen it. I've probably been to, I don't know, uh, I think it's less than 50 casinos. I went to my locals a lot, but been trying to get out, and some of them were well before I was making review articles and review videos from the parking lot and all of that. And it's really obvious when it's not happening. I wish everybody had an opportunity to see a casino where they didn't do it, because then it becomes so much more obvious when they do it. Um, yeah. So, what are the odds? Uh, for me, the number is about 1 in 50, but I suspect it's more like 1 in 100, 1 in 200. Yeah, and this is a little bit separate from they want to, but they can't because the gaming regulations say they can't. Yeah. Um, yeah. Carrie says, better than nothing from Michigan, from Carrie. Yeah. There's data, but a lot of people ask me my opinion, and if I have data, I like to share the data. But my opinion is, you can win in Michigan and in Ohio and in Indiana. I'm just like, "Ugh." I mean, some of them are really high. French Lick, high for years, compared to all the others in the state, and that's kind of they're kind of at the lower limit you might find in Nevada casinos, but it's still the best in Indiana and Michigan. I just Firekeepers. I've seen win after win in my Michigan slots enthusiast Facebook group, win after win after win, and in some states, you never see anything like that. Penta Black, yeah. uh, they're they lack an understanding of random. They think it's either random or it isn't random, and I'm like, "So which random?" And they're like, there's only one random." And I'm like, "So poker is random and craps is a different random and roulette's a third random, and that's different randoms, right?" And they're like, "What? I I hate you." Everything you say is wrong. And I'm like, even how to, have a lockable wallet to get your money out of the casino, even yeah. So I have had to deal with some haters and people that are just, you know, anyway. I'm trying to, my brand is not to talk about that. Uh, anyone, you're going to get some strong opinions here. Um, reading through to see, looking for a hashtag question. Well, we got a hashtag, not a question. Let's see. Um, uh, uh, Back says, can an employee at a casino show you the number of jackpots they have paid out and where the action is taking place? Um, yes. Yes. I encourage people to talk to casino employees, but I encourage you to listen to the casino employee uh, for facts, not for methods, not for their opinion, even if they have a strong opinion, because they just like directing people over there, over there, over there. Those that say, "I saw this there," and and I'm like, "Was that last night? About what time?" And don't be don't be too interrogating, but you want to be able to come back and ask questions again. But what have they seen? And that's useful. That's all kinds of useful, all kinds of things that you can ask and learn. But then they start, they switch over to, well, this person's listening to me, so I'll just tell them what machines to play. Oh, that's a winner. I'm like, you saw it win? And they're like, what? I'm like, you saw it win? Was that Tuesday night? About what time was that? And they're like, what? No, it's a winner. And I'm like, no, 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 no. What did you see? and and so yes, be careful. They could say, sure, this is the action. There are some, I mean, if a cas- and be aware of scam artists, right? Even if they're casino employees, if they legitimately show you the jackpot list, uh, they should be showing everybody. Why are they only showing you? Okay, but if it's on their website and other things, some casinos do that, and some casinos just post it on the side of the high limit machine. They did that for a while in Caesars Southern Indiana, and not for just the high limit machines. And so you can read down the list and win and the recent jackpots. And so if you can get that information, that's great information. But if the second part of this is come back a week later, find those times, learn how to sync yourself to the casino. And most casinos don't have all my strategies. Fun asked a question earlier about, uh, what if they don't have any of my strategies? And that's so I answer that. But one of the other questions that's going to build off of that is how many of my strategies might they have? And that's four. Up to four, and it might be zero, but I've only seen that once. And so, do they have the system in place where you come back a week later at the same time and do that for the next 4 weeks? I changed how I call this. I used to say, leave, walk away, return later. 1 week later, and that was just a mouthful. And I tried repeat wins 4x, and people were like, you're doing math. And so now I call it the deja vu method. And I had some suggestions from some of my fans on calling it uh, a good name for it. So the deja vu method, where you come back a week later and it lasts for like 4 weeks afterwards. If they have it, they have it, and you can use it. But if they don't, they don't. You can check if you have that information you're talking about. Check. Yeah. Uh, ooh, excellent question. Cruise ships, taxes. You are so international waters. It's an ambiguous term, international waters, where there are no laws. And it used to be a cannon shot distance, which I thought was 2 miles, but it turns out it was 2 nautical miles, which was 3, almost 3 miles. But then in a decade or two ago, they switched it to about 12 nautical miles, which is about 13 miles. And the Navy likes to say it's 50 miles. So this is something I've been digging into a little bit. When you're in international waters, no taxes. However, you have had that as income. So you being, you have to check with your CPA. These are deep questions. Check with your CPA about, you know, if you win a hand pay, no W-2G is issued, right? Because you're in international waters, but there might be some sort of caveat about the home port of that uh, uh, ship. So, but you just win it, but then it is income, and so on your income, you might have foreign income. Is there? How would you do that? How would an accountant handle income that didn't come from a country? Because it was from international waters, and I'm not a professional accountant, and that's a good question for a professional accountant. I get mine on a live stream once a year, usually towards the end of the year, to answer these sorts of questions. So there shouldn't be any taxes, but uh, the your country, I assume the U.S., isn't going to let that go, and I have to wonder how they handle it. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Maine has always been like that. Uh, so, yes, Maine is actually, is it Maine? Yes. My next up Saturday article is about the Maine return statistics. It does exist; those do exist. And then after that, week after is Maryland. I think both have mentioned here. Uh, yeah. Yes, Magpie says 90 jackpots, breaking um, um, dopamine high in muscle memory. Yeah, I probably should have realized when I went back to do my usual walk through the casino, evaluate, do the review. I was just led by my nose, led by my memories, right over to the old machine that I used to play, and I'm like, "And where's my $300?" Wow, that went fast, and I never really stood a chance. Um, Tammy, excellent question. What is a good indication that you should quit at any given time after a strong win, etc.? Um, have a plan. This is what I advise. I don't know how much your bankroll is. I don't know what your normal win amount is, but I want you to think about what to do if you win half your bankroll. Do you say, I'll spend it? Fine. What if you win what you brought to the casino? Would you spend that too, or would you put half of it in your pocket, uh, or just supplement, bring your what bring your bankroll up to the amount you brought with you, and then put everything else away, right? Does that make sense? Where you're back to what you came in with, and then what's extra from that because of that win rate, then you put away. But what if you win 10 times your bankroll that you walked in with? You know, I advise get out. So have a plan. Have 3 plans. What do you do if you win as much as less than what you brought to the casino? What do you do if you win as much as you brought to the casino? What do you do if you win double or more what you brought to the casino? Decide, because the bigger the win, the less you're gonna be able to think about it. As someone just said dopamine. And so it's easier to remember than it is to suddenly come up with a plan. Uh, yeah, yeah, have a plan. You decide. You decide before you go. And if you can't achieve it, then we could talk about ways to make it easier for you to get out with your money. Depends how much of a problem that is. M. Grayley, I think it's a comment, but I'll see. I don't know if there's a question here. I don't see a question mark. I noticed that new games seem to have better odds more often, and then after a few months, the machines seem to be cold and nobody playing them. Is that the way casinos can change the winning odds? Sure, sure. There is a reason to try to get people to be playing new machines, and the reason is that they lower the odds later, and those people that get hooked continue to play those machines. Gee, I'm just not lucky. I was winning and now I've given all that back and I've given back as much before as more. And oh, that's what they're doing. So, yes, that's exactly the plan. Get you hooked, uh, get you to think you're lucky on that machine. It's your favorite machine, and then lower the odds later after that's happened. And just rake the money in, rake the money in, rake the money in. Yeah, it's a plan. It's not even very complicated. Uh, uh, Shalane says, if you have signed yourself out of the casino for a year and happen to be going back to the casino, do you get the jackpot if you hit? Uh, no, you aren't due or anything like that. Also, I'm very concerned about your statement, you've signed yourself out of the casino, because if you put yourself on the voluntary exclusion list, you can be arrested if you hit a jackpot, because when you produce your license, they would take a look and see that you're on a voluntary exclusion, and in some states, that's a criminal offense. Because you promised that you wouldn't go, and not necessarily your state. Now, there's also other states that say, you can put yourself on the voluntary exclusion list for a year, or you can not do anything official with the state police and just say, "I'm not going for a year." But no, you're not owed. No, nothing like that. Yeah, good dog, guard dog from the squirrel. I mean, he just welcomes everybody in. So yes, that is Curie, and Isaac is down there, and I don't see the saboteurs, saboteur one, saboteur two, anywhere about. Thank goodness, they're usually over there by the modem. And by the way, if you would like this, so we can get lots more questions. Juanita I see a question there. Can a casino just make an announcement that someone win $5,000 and really no one did? People figure that out. One of the things that casino is limited by, all casinos are limited by, is not earning a false reputation, not earning a bad reputation. And there's, that sort of thing people notice. Now, I would see a billboard sign at the casino that my local casino, and I saw a billboard sign that said, um, "Loosest slots in the state, number 1 in jackpots," stuff like that. And they were 2 years before. And that sign just, billboard just stayed up there year after year after year. So they don't put anything like a date in the corner. It was true, but not recently. And and I'm sure that the executives had a serious discussion about, well, we're now a new owner, and but can we still say that? I don't know. Maybe you could. It's not even the same owner, and maybe we can keep that sign up because we know it provides like a good return for people coming in, etc. So they try to keep it truthful, but there's also kind of the whole stretching a little bit. I've seen some of wins that I never had my picture taken. I never signed a release to have myself put up on the website and done all that. I should have taken more pictures, um, but my friends did, and I was there in the high limit room when they won $30,000 on on a $100 machine, which was relatively small jackpot on a $100 machine, but they still won it, and I saw their picture up for years, and I'm like, you know, you can see the machine behind them, and they don't have that anymore, and they haven't had it in like a year, and but nobody notices these things, except me. Um, Yep, I see. Yes, thank you, Juanita. Juanita, I have a sister, Juanita. S- she turned 60 3 days ago. Uh, let's see. Question, lots of comments. I'm trying to, like, again, I'm trying to spot those with a hashtag question, because otherwise I'm just pausing and reading, and I want to keep things going. So hashtag question: can you speak at all about the Queen of Virginia, Queen of PA skill machines? There are three times three. Pick a wild skill, not HHR at all. Thanks. Um, so Pennsylvania, let's take a look at that. And yes, let's take a look at that. Let me put that up. There's some wording, and there's some wording going on with some of this. So here is professorslots.com/PA, and accept cookies, and please go to the site and sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get my free guide. So there's a couple things going on in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has satellite casinos, but they haven't built them. They're allowed, it has to be an existing casino, and they're allowed to be within 25 miles of it. And also airport casinos, but their contracts have to be made with the airport authority. All this was like shut down for the pandemic. This happened in 2017, and it just hasn't come about very much. But one of the things is, and let me see if I can highlight this, truck stops. And this is a very generic term. You have to watch. State law doesn't define what truck stops are. So you can have a bar, or you can have a laundromat that says, well, truck stop here. And so if you're talking about those locations that have up to 5 slot machines, those are return statistics are down here. Let's see. Yeah. So those are legal, and those fall under the State Gaming Commission, and all those are slot machines. But if you're talking about, I'm trying to understand here, for everybody, historic horse racing machines are something that uh, has becoming very popular. It's like, for instance, saved the horse racing industry in Wyoming because it turned these funds that are given to horsemen's purses to a year-round activity instead of just a short season, and so that became year-round money income for the racetracks, and so all this became something that's really powerful. And yeah, so thank you for the additional follow-up. So there's also these HHR machines, and there's also these illegal gaming machines. But these machines that we're talking about here are approved by the state, uh, up to 5. And truck stops don't have to be truck stops. Trucks can just stop there. And so in Pennsylvania, there is a uh, theoretical payout limit of 80. Minimums are 85%, maximums are less than one. It cannot equal or exceed 100%, so 99.999. Both limits apply to every single play, and that applies to those machines. So what are they? They're slot machines. They're whatever the state allows that you might find at a regular casino, video poker, all those others, which are um, that's getting into another topic, which are slot machines in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So I will move on. Praveen, where can we access return amounts set by government for a state? Two things. Not every state has it. Not there is no return amount set in any U.S. state. It's just this fantastic myth out there. There is a lower limit. There is a upper limit, maybe in some states. I think it's like 29 states have both. 16 states just have a lower limit, and the rest don't have anything. And these are just limits. People make the assumption of, well, casinos are just trying to rip you off, so of course they would be the bottom. No, that's an opinion. And it's not a good one, because casinos would, shut down because they'd lose their reputation, have a terrible reputation if they drop that low. But people assume this. So if you go to professorslots.com/ the 2-letter postal designation, you go to the second to last section called theoretical payouts and return statistics. If it's available, and if it is, every state's a little bit different, go there and see what I have to say. And I'll say something like, one or the other, or this or that, and I try to make it very clear. And also I provide links on where to go to find all this at the State Gaming Commission, etc. Yeah. Yeah. Just be aware that the state doesn't set the amount, they set the limit, and the limit is useless for those states that have it, because casinos would never do that. Some opinions here. Thank you, Praveen, for asking the same question with hashtag question. Sure. Minka, do high limit rooms have different payouts than the rest of the floor? Well, yeah, every denomination has a different payout. We see that in the 6 states that offer slot machine returns. 20 states offer slot machine returns. 6 of them offer them by slot machine denomination, and every denomination is a different return. Each denomination is set differently. So if you're asking, there's another myth out there that they're all in order. Well, first thing is, penny's the worst. It just is. We see this, consistently, month by month, casino by casino, for years. And the 6 states that offer this, just bam, worse of all the other denominations. But then the best of all of them can be like 5 cents. 5 and for a year, last I checked was in February, for a whole year in Nevada, on the Strip, 5-cent denomination was the best of any denomination. So the people that talk about it being in some sort of, worst to best, it, that's not the facts. It's popular uh, myth. Biff says it's a response to um, Bomia treasures and a question there. Like I said, there's a lot of back and forth. Come to these live chats and um, you'll be part of the discussion. You can hear me talking, but if you're looking at the live chat, it's a lot of back and forth, and it's wonderful, I think. Magpie says if some states run as a lottery, like Washington and Illinois, at the local joints, is it run like the raffle concept? How do the inns get loaded? Inns? How do the inns get loaded? So every state that says they are run by the state lottery, that the state lottery is the gaming commission, do it differently. Just like every state that has a gaming commission does it differently. It is, just because it's run by a lottery doesn't mean that it's run the same way. And those machines that are, run by gaming commissions that are like in Pennsylvania, that are for, up to five. Otherwise, one more than that and you're legal. Up to five in Pennsylvania isn't run by the lottery; it's run by the state gaming commission. So it doesn't really matter if it's the lottery or not the lottery, or for the state gaming commission, because that it's every one of them is different, and so it's trying to group those that are run by the state lottery into one type in every state, and it isn't. It's the same variety as every state has with gaming commissions. Every state with a state lottery that's the gaming commission is different. The state of Washington has just this fantastic system. They worked very hard at trying to be unique and fair when they put all this together, and they had long delays, I think a decade of working on this, where they set up their class 3 lottery machines to be based off of scratch tickets, virtual scratch tickets, electronic scratch tickets, where everything is given out in batches and sub batches, like, a reel at the convenience store of tickets, and only it's all electronic. And that doesn't use a random number generator at all. Then you have Illinois, which the lottery runs the machines the um, at the bars and taverns that have a gaming license to allow them to have those, and they set the lottery sets the odds. And I think I might have shown you um, that the returns in Illinois. It's just like horrifying to see some of this. I have a review under reviews, and let me share that with you again, just to show you kind of like the differences. And Iowa, Indiana, next one. Horseshoe. These are my reviews of the casinos I go to, and as well as the state stuff. So Illinois. This is the article, and that is from when they started recording the bars and taverns in 2012, when there was maybe like 150 machines, and now there's 17,000 or some huge number nowadays. But they've dipped in around the end of 2014, beginning of 2015. They reached a maximum around the end of 2016, and then they just basically ran it down to the lowest it's ever been, my most recent data point on this. And that's the state. Is the Illinois state a government hurting for funds? I think they are, and this is a source of income for them. So don't return as much as people turn in, and boom, done. Bars and taverns can't do anything about it. But then you go to someplace like Ohio, where I am, and there's a gaming commission for the 4 casino resorts, but there's a state, lottery with the exact same rules, but that's for these 7 racetracks with slot machines, and those are run by the state lottery, which doesn't have much to do with it at all. They're just like, you adjust it, you let us know. It's casinos have control. And uh, so it goes. It can be just like a gaming commission. It can be just controlled to an to the level of just taking your money. It really does depend on the state. Yeah. Let's see. So, why I usually have, like, a topic for the first 15 minutes, and I think I got through one of my questions, but you guys have all been asking questions. I put a challenge out there, "Ask me your questions," and we're over an hour. My voice will give out in 2 hours, and we'll see how many questions that you have, but, keep going. Sale Ready says, "Why do slots keep" put that away. "Why do slots keep taking money after a while, even for 8 hours of spins?" Uh, Again, if the casino can do that, they will, but they don't like to do that. They would love to give somebody somewhere in the casino a win to give everybody hope, and that way they don't riot, don't get upset, don't leave and never return, which is a lost customer, and you don't do that when you're running a business. So, if you go to a state that is fair, first off, that means that you won't win. I mean, you'll win, but for 8 hours, you'll have the average response, right? And so, if you go to a state that has fair, then you'll win 90% of the time, or at least the amount will be 90% after 8 hours. But it's not set up that way in most casinos. Even the states that have really kind of drilled down to be fair, be fair, be fair, it becomes, there's a few states where you can actually have that result of spending $100 and getting $90 back. But like you're talking about, you can put in money for 8 hours and not have a single win. Yeah, again and again and again and again. Maybe not on a Tuesday, but on a Wednesday. Maybe on a Wednesday, but not on a Tuesday, and it's all controlled. I mean, just look at some of the stuff that I show you on the return the statistics for the various. Let's see, we did Indiana. We can do Iowa. Show you a different one than I've shown you before. Here's Iowa and the returns, and here's the map. I mean, I think is that Ameristar at the top, and then down at the bottom is, let's see, the highest one is, yes, here it is. So the highest is Prairie Meadows. The lowest is Lakeside. That's not average return. That's not random odds. That's a plan. That's what a plan looks like for, over a year and a half. And if you check it, it goes back to like 1990. and, and so, yeah. And, so, wins get loaded. I see. Magpie asked, there was a missing letter in the question, in your original question. I wondered what that meant. Where's that original question from you? Let me see if I can show everybody again. Wow, a lot of questions that we've answered. So let me see if I can just quickly find it, or I just work by my memory, but I wanted to show everybody else your question. So, yeah, in Illinois, there was, yeah, how do winds get loaded? So in the state of Washington, they get loaded by it's like it's batches and then sub batches, and then you can find a winning sub batch, and it's not really it's just reading out from the list. There's no random number generator for scratch tickets. It's just what's printed and electronically, and then what you get. And there's a the way they do it is possible to see to have a pattern and to use it. It's a little complicated, but not if you're if you're in the state of Washington and you want to play those machines, take a minute and go through my description of it, and you'll see what I mean. So, how do the winds get loaded? Well, in there's no input in like Illinois from the bars and taverns. So those, if you go to a convenience store, all the slots channels talk about how slot machines are random. Okay, that's what happens at convenience stores. That's when the casinos have no control over it because it's not a casino, and if the state lottery has full control, that's what they do. If you buy a slot machine and put it into your, spare bedroom, that's what you get. But that's not what the casinos do. So wins are just random. But you can set the odds. My neighbor has a slot machine. We've looked into it and we set the return to be, huge. So every time you press the button, you win money. Of course, it's his money, and he's not, it's illegal to treat it as a gambling site. But if you want to win every time on a machine that you buy, you can set it up to win every time. It's all perfectly adjustable. Or you could set it up so that you never win. And that's what casinos do, but that's not what bars and taverns do, particularly when sometimes they're not in charge. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to, not to shock you. But people say, well, I don't mean to say people say, but this has been going on for 130 years on a machine that was made by Charles Fay in San Francisco. That was the first slot machine. There was machines before that, but it didn't have a coin receptacle. That's the part that makes it a slot, or did. They improved the odds to be better than 2%, 3%, 2%, 3% wins. Because if it was truly random, it would be 3% of the time, not 90% of the time in Indiana, not 93% of the time in Nevada. It would be 3%. And so in order for the father of slot machines, Charles Fay, made it so that you could win occasionally. And the bar could still, the location could still make money, but then the machine would be played because sometimes you might win instead of, after hours of not winning. Yeah. Questions. Juanita says, never seen a list of winners at my casino. Do they have to post? Oh, no. This is rare. I've seen it maybe 1 out of every 10 casinos. They might have it on a website. They might have it, announced verbally over the speakers. They might have a monitor, a television monitor set up to flash the wins. And sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. I talk to my paid consultations about, if they do have that, how can you use that to win, and exactly what information is available on some of those. So yeah, it is not standard. It's not part of the gaming regulation. Sometimes it's just to help people feel better about all the money they're losing by seeing somebody else had won. Well, that was a pretty clear statement. Question: what laws govern online casinos? Will online casinos have the same odds as brick and mortar casinos? Only in those states that have legalized online games. But if I were to say it's the wild west out there, kind of shoot 'em up sort of environments, there's so much going on that is completely illegal, offshore accounts, whatever. States battling that. Kentucky was very upset by all of the residents that were losing money to online slots. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And so a judge in Connecticut, they made it illegal for companies to come from outside of the state, including outside of the United States, to offer those services online to Kentucky residents, and so they got in trouble, and so the judge was able to get a payment from those offshore online slots companies. And what I thought was completely fascinating was the judge gave that money to the state, didn't return it to people who had lost the money. The state took it. I thought, wow, that was a boss move. So yeah, if there is online gaming that is legal in your state, then gaming uh, uh, um, the gaming commission regulates it. But in every state, not every state has, upper limits and lower limits and requirements. So you have to be in those states that do. And then there's reporting, like in Nevada, we report online gaming results and sports betting results and table game results and slots results. And so you can start to see more than just the odds, but rather rather the returns and all of that. So yeah, but there's so many states that are just being hit by these online gaming illegal sites. And then you have the whole raffle thing, which is there's slot machines for fun. It's called social gaming. Facebook has that. Then you have real money gambling online, which I have a podcast episode. I think it's number 163, where I talked to Jesse about being an online slots enthusiast, and he's an IT expert in specializing in security, so he understands how to be safe there, which is pretty much what I would want, and I'm not to do that. But if you can want to listen to that, you can find out what he thinks. But it's really just the wild west out there. So much is going on, so many things are changing so quickly. Yeah. So wow. So yes, Decal is making a comment to others. He says offline casinos are a ripoff. Most are offshore. And then he says China, Macau, Philippines. Not the Philippines. Be very careful about the Philippines. The Philippines is the fastest growing legitimate slots place in the world. They've got awesome gaming regulations. It's all locked down. It's better than um, Nevada's returns. It's just this wonderful thing. And so the Philippines now, what are their laws about having corporations that might run illegal gaming? I don't know that, but the casinos in Philippines are just spot on. And I won't get in trouble with China by telling you what yeah, so let's see. Okay. I thought somebody was buzzing me, but turns out not. Okay, so I'm going to call it, and I want to say what a great live stream. You'll see me on my next live stream on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, I highly recommend that you watch this video on whether casinos are upset with you, with us winning now. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you later.